Hello, everyone, and welcome to this series of conversations we're going to have, especially when you're traveling outside India. Yeah, so this videos are for students who are aspiring to go abroad. These are for parents who like to understand what it takes to send their child international for the education. And that's exactly what we're going to do. And why am I doing this? Because I'm a career aspirant and I love sharing best practices. I'm a leadership coach as well as career counselor. Also, I play a lot of role in coaching students really on their life skills. So those are the areas I work. And as a part of my community service, I'm doing this interviews. So I'm going to get guests from students who have gone abroad will speak to us, as well as parents who have sent their child abroad. What it takes, we'll talk about that. So let's get into the conversation.
And today we have a very, very special guest. I love to introduce this way, someone who is a student of Jamnabai School, moved into Mitibai College, and then jumped to Michigan State University studying bachelor's degree in biochemistry and molecular biology. Mind you, a double major in Texas, in United States of America, and now interesting addition, a PhD student in one of the topmost, I think the number one cancer research center in the University of Texas called MD Anderson. I'm sure all of you have heard of this in Houston. So we have Rakhi Bajaj with us, and I'm so happy that she's actually in Mumbai as we are talking to her. I'm not doing a video call in US, so she's right here in the heart of Juhu. Rakhi, welcome for this conversation. How are you feeling?
I'm good, thank you. I really am very glad to be doing this. And yeah, let's get started with whatever questions everyone has.
Hey, thanks, Aki. And I think there's a lots of conversation because today international education is such a big thing, and every fourth student wants to travel abroad. And look at your transition. So I want to just back up a little bit and really see how have you moved. Like if you go back to your school days, what kind of student were you? If you recall your sixth standard, seventh standard. Was this all planned, or is this it just happened as you moved around? So let's begin in your memory lane and understand your school time to begin with.
So I was what you would say a perfectly average student, or maybe even below average. I think all of the subjects we did in school, it never caught my interest. Like in sixth standard, seventh standard, when you're just taught general subjects, I was never interested in any of them. I never studied. My parents were always worried about me, being like, I don't know what she's going to do. I never had any interest. And then I went ahead with science. That's when, like, ninth standard, we have to select between science, commerce. So I decided to go with science. And that's when I was truly introduced to biology. And I think ninth standard was when I knew I wanted to do biology. And that the only reason is because that was the only subject I was good at. And I really liked it. I wasn't really good at any other subject. So, I truly just learning about it, I took a liking. I also had a really good teacher. I used to go for these tuitions to Dr. Gandhi, and he was very passionate about biology. So he taught it with a lot of passion. And I think learning biology from him was key to me developing an interest, because it was just the way he taught it. And biology is a very visual subject. So I could always visualize what I was studying. And I think that was key in me developing my interest once again. But other than that, I just, and because that was the only subject I was good at, I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I wasn't good at.
Interesting, Rakhi. And I think I just want to understand, when you growing up and your focus was on medical, and a lot of parents tell me that students wants to get into medical, and they have, parents' vision is more of getting their students into medical. And certainly here you are, who is thinking of getting into non-medical, and wanted to really understand how is it for you, because a lot of people want to become a doctor, and suddenly you want to shift the gears. And how is it shifting it? What was the obstacles? How did the parents react? Let's understand. And how did you react to that?
I wasn't really introduced to research as a career trajectory until my 11th, 12th standard. Like when I was doing biology in school, it was always, I'll go do science biology major in 11th and 12th, and then take what you call a CET, which is the Maharashtra Central Exam for medical school. And that was my plan. I was going to take that exam and then get into medical school in India or Bombay, wherever. But then in 11th and 12th, I had another really good, once again, a really good biology teacher, Dr. Kaur. He was the one who said that, you know, you might want to look at other options other than medical school, because entering into the medical field in India without a parent or a family member who's already in the field can be very difficult for someone who's completely new. Like there's no space for outsiders to come in really. So he wasn't discouraging me. He was just showing me what the reality of medical school in India was. And it's about, you can get into medical school, but what after? Are you going to be able to excel without someone being there to give you that platform to excel on? So he was the one who said, you know, I'm not forcing you, but look into research, like see what's out there. And then I was again like truly introduced to lab work when I moved to the US, because we had practicals and stuff like that where they really made it very easy for us to be introduced to the subject of research. And that's where I really enjoyed it. So I was like, yeah.
And actually, I think interesting. So here you are doing your preparing for CET, and many students who are currently listening to us or will listen to this conversation, and their parents, aspiring people to get a seat. And now it's called NEET. NEET exam is what a lot of people give. How is it for you? Because, you know, suddenly someone is telling you, yeah, okay, you're not from a family background, doesn't have any doctors, and you are already in the thick of the things. How is it for you and your parents to really think differently at that point in time? What really made a change for you to shift your thinking?
So, I mean, the thing is, for me, it wasn't so important to do medical or research. It was more about doing biology, honestly, because that's the subject I really, really enjoyed doing. So as long as I was associated with that, I was fine with doing anything. And I'm also, I think, a pretty stubborn person. So I was like, some way or the other, I'll do it. That's fine. It's just how do I get there? And I think I'm still like that. Like even while doing my PhD, I'm like, some way or the other, I'll get there. I just don't know how. That is what I have to figure. So I think that's what happened even then, where I was like, okay, fine. If it's that difficult, I'll take the exam. It's not a big deal. But meanwhile, I'll also do other things. So like just keeping your options open. Like I took the CET, but I also took the what you call the SATs, which is your exam you take to go abroad. And I did all of it because I was like, something will work out, you know? So keeping your options open, I think is very important. Like if you want to narrow your focus, it's fine. Like it's completely okay. But even in that narrowed focus, keep your options open. Have a plan A, B, C, D, like, because at least for me, things have not really worked out the first shot. You know, it took time. It took over years for me to get something to work. And I think that, and it only worked because I kept all my options open. I never closed a door. I kept all my doors open.
And that's a great point, which you're saying, and very, very important point for all the parents, because a lot of us go with that one mindset. And if you don't have option A and B, and especially coming from you, because you've seen that after your experience of many years and currently pursuing your PhD in US. So Rakhi, how easy? Like, tell us a bit about your parents. You know, how liberal they were, how much convincing you had to do to really change your thinking. Did any of those elements play around, came as an obstacle for you at all?
I mean, yes, to a certain extent. So my parents weren't like, you're not going to do this. They were just like, no one in the family has done it. How will you do it? It wasn't ever a question of, we are not going to let you do it. It's just, think about it. Will you be able to do it? My mom was always like, since ninth, when I told you I wasn't a good student, she was the one who said, tumko karna hai, you want to get a good percentage, you want to go into science, I'll wake up with you every day, 5 a.m., 4 a.m. She used to wake up with me whatever time I woke up to study, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. She used to sit there, make me coffee, make sure I didn't go to sleep. So she was very supportive, and she was like, no matter what in the world happens, you will do this. Tumko karna hai, so we will make sure you do it. So I think the support of a family member really changes things. My mom, again, she doesn't know much about science. She doesn't know anything about science, to be honest. But it was just that she was like, you'll do it. I'll get up with you. I'll do whatever you need, but you will do it. And my dad, who basically, without him, I don't think I could have gone abroad. I have friends who've gone abroad, who've taken loans, loan ka tension, iska tension. I've never had to face that, any of it. My dad was like, you go study whatever you want. Even he didn't know anything about science, but he was like, you do it, tumko karna hai, you'll do it, and I'll give you that backbone that you need, where you don't have to think of the financial obligations. So, supporting it doesn't have to be that you have to be a scientist to support your kid. Like, you just have to support them in any way possible. And yeah, my parents didn't know anything about it, so they were scared about what I'm getting into. They didn't know what I was getting. I didn't know what I was getting into, but just their support of being like, no, you'll do it. We'll make sure somehow or the other you will do it.
Interesting, because at this time, when I look at your career, it looks so aligned. A science student, loves biology, and has got into biotech field, which is such an important field today, and doing a PhD in the cancer research. So it looks so aligned, Rakhi, and it's interesting to say that, as you're saying that, hey, I never thought of this. This just opening up, just kept opening up. So tell us your transition. How did that happen? You're studying for CET, you're doing parallelly SAT, SAT exams. What happened after that, and how did you move to Michigan University?
So I'm going to say something that I don't know, parents might not want to hear this, but I did not like the way we were taught science in 11th and 12th in India, to be honest. It was a whole lot of mugging, and we just had to memorize the most insignificant details and then puke it out on a paper. And I did not like that. It was making me dislike biology, which is what scared me, because it was literally the only thing I liked. So I was like, I don't know what will I do if I stop liking this subject. So I didn't like it. So I just one day randomly was talking to a friend, and we were discussing about, universities abroad. And I literally just went to my mom saying, I'm taking the SATs. I am applying to universities abroad. That's it. And she was like, tum kaise jaoge? You've never been abroad. You're homesick half the time. How are you going to go? I was just like, I can't study here. I'm going. And that was it. And then I just worked towards it. It was very impromptu, but yeah, I don't know how else to explain it. It was just one fine day I decided it.